Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 400. What's going on, everybody? Happy weekend. So, before we jump into our article, just a quick heads up. Remember, on Sunday, we are going to be doing our weekly live stream. So, if you haven't joined us yet for that weekly live stream, I think this Sunday is the perfect time to do so. We've had a lot of fun the last few Sundays. There's been a lot of engagement, and the comment threads have ended in at 300 plus comments on each of the live streams. So as you can tell from that, there's been a lot of back and forth going on, a lot of good discussions. And obviously, if you're listening to this podcast right now, I think that you would greatly enjoy the live stream. So if you're ready to join in on Sundays, the link will be provided like usual tomorrow night after the Daily Drop. It'll be in the description box. And then on Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll all get together and we'll talk about the occurrences of the case throughout the week. We'll talk about the case overall. And then we can talk about whatever it is that you folks want to discuss. All right, so tonight we're going to dive back in and we're going to stay focused here on the money aspect of the Jeffrey Epstein criminal organization. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the new anti-money laundering laws that have been put on the books with the passage of the NDAA. And there is some enticements for whistleblowers as well. Now, previously, whistleblowers have not been treated too greatly by the United States government. Let's be real. A lot of times, the people who are drawing back the shades and showing everybody the darkness that lies within are the people that end up holding the bag and getting in trouble for this kind of thing. You saw it with Edward Snowden. You saw it with Julian Assange. You saw it with the young lady who was responsible for the FinCEN files, and on and on and on we go. So there needs to be some protections for whistleblowers. There needs to be an actual safe harbor law as opposed to the BS one we have on the books. If you're a whistleblower and you come forward to your agency and you out some sort of malfeasance, you shouldn't be punished for that. In fact, you should be rewarded because A, you're saving the taxpayers money in the long run, and B, you're saving whatever institution you're working for another black eye. And if we know anything at this point, it's that none of these institutions in America or elsewhere can do with any more bad publicity. How much more bad publicity can these places possibly take? I mean, the Department of Justice in the United States is an absolute dumpster fire. It's like a bunch of rodeo clowns running around at a bull riding contest. That's what they remind me of. These people are completely insane. And the last thing they need is another black eye, right? But they don't look at it like that. They don't care. They believe that they can control the flow of information. And if you control the narrative, then you can get away with whatever you want. And when your friends in big tech are shadow banning people, outright censoring people, well, you're the only ones left to run the narrative. And when it's not challenged, well, that narrative becomes truth, even when it is based on lies. And you see these whistleblowers get caught up in that kind of thing. So hopefully with this new anti-money laundering laws that we're putting onto the books, these new regulations, these whistleblowers will be afforded more protection, more ability to come forward and out these scumbags. Because without brave people working within these institutions that come forward and bring this malfeasance to our attention, then these people within the government will get away with it forever. Oh, don't get me wrong. Every now and then we'll stumble upon some of their disgustingness. But for the most part, it'll be hidden. It'll be private, and it'll never see the light of day. And that's why these whistleblowers are so important and why they must be protected at all costs. At the same time, the government and the two tribes cannot weaponize whistleblowers either. That's certainly a danger we have to be careful of. In this very polarized situation, everything goes back to politics, it seems. So hopefully these new laws aren't weaponized and used against whistleblowers. I mean, I'm sure they will be at some point because, well, the scuzz that we have running the country always finds a way to mold these laws into what they want them to be. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them do that with this law as well. But on its face, the protection for whistleblowers is huge here. Our article today is from thebanker.com. Headline: New U.S. Whistleblower Reward Scheme Bolsters AML Fight. This article was authored by David Robinson. I'm guessing not David Robinson, the center from the Spurs from back in the day, the Admiral. I'm guessing just an author, David Robinson. The U.S. government defense spending bill, passed by Congress at the end of December, included a new anti-money laundering MAL, whistleblower reward program that has been heralded as a game changer in the efforts to clamp down on illicit money flows. And now, see, again, we're getting more details here. We hadn't heard of the whistleblower reward program in the previous articles we read. So that's why I like to add context. That's why we read several articles on the same topic sometimes. Because I think it's important that we get many different viewpoints, even on the same topic, right? Because the more context and the more meat on the bone, the better prepared we're going to be to put the pieces together. The release of the FinCEN files last year, highlighting how fraudsters have been able to move millions of dollars of stolen money around the world through leading banks such as HSBC, Barclays, and Deutsche Bank, has emboldened authorities' efforts to get on top of the issue. It's about damn time. They should have been getting on top of this issue a long time ago. You're going to let people manipulate the financial system, launder hundreds and hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, while at the same time arresting people for selling weed, arresting people for engaging in quote-unquote, I'm using air quotes right now, folks, illegal, illicit gambling, which is legal all over the country now. But these people that are laundering money and making life difficult on the rest of us, nah, there's never been no laws for them. And the laws that are on the books for them, well, they're easy to manipulate, easily avoided, and the loopholes are easily navigated. But hopefully, with these new laws, the AML laws that are on the books now, they'll have more teeth. And protecting the whistleblowers is a very shrewd way to go about it. It provides a bit of an incentive now for people to blow the whistle when shit is going south. And I can't stress this enough. If you find yourself in a position ever working for the government or some sort of banking institution, and they're engaging in this sort of illegal conduct, I would blow the whistle right away if I were you to protect myself, because you don't want to be the one who is left holding the bag, right? Low man on the totem pole type shit. So I know if I worked in one of these banks or one of these financial institutions and there was some shit that was going on that was obviously wrong, I would definitely be blowing it up and outing these people. The new program provides a set process by which insiders with critical information regarding money laundering schemes to come forward, report their information to relevant authorities, and if their information leads to a recovery, receive a reward for providing the critical information that allowed the law enforcement to stop the scheme. Now, this is interesting, right? A reward? That is very interesting, and it will provide incentive. Now, I'm usually not a fan of this sort of thing, right? Snitch on your friends, snitch on this one, snitch on that one. But when it comes to these money launderers inside the banking institutions, if I said it once, I'll say it a million times. They have to have regulations. They have to have strict regulations because they have proven without regulations, without anybody watching over them, that they cannot conduct themselves correctly. There's no internal pull. There's no people on the inside that are saying, hey, look, this isn't a good idea, guys. Come on, you're giving us all a bad name, and we're going to be completely regulated if you keep doing this. There's none of that. No self-regulation. So then it falls on the government, unfortunately, to step in and regulate it. And when I say regulate it, I'm talking they should really make the banks feel the pain. The way the banks have made the populations around the world feel the pain for years and years and years, that's the way the bank should be made to feel the pain when they're caught engaging in criminal activity, money laundering, transferring millions and billions for scumbags. Previously, a whistleblower might have critical information about a money laundering scheme, but no idea how to tell relevant authorities, said Mary Inman, a London-based whistleblowing specialist at law firm Constantine Cannon. Now, any whistleblower will know exactly where to go, who to tell, and how to report. And law enforcement, on the other end, will have a set procedure for how to receive this information and properly investigate it. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a really good idea to have a uniformed way to go about this. It's for too long, these people were left to their own devices. For too long, they were able to manipulate the SAR system. For too long, the compliance offices looked the other way. And now, when you get that unsatisfactory grade report sent home, well, what do your parents do? You get punished. If your parents are the kind to tan your ass, you might get a beat down. But the bankers, on the other hand, nothing ever happens. They just do whatever they want. Well, the chickens are coming home to roost. And this anti-money laundering legislation is certainly a huge step in the right direction to making these people responsible for their actions. Stepping up enforcement. The new law is broadly based on the decade-old Securities and Exchange Commission whistleblower program, which has made a sizable impact in the fight against investor fraud. It is hoped that by following the same general outline, the new AML program will replicate the SEC's success in turning whistleblower information into actionable enforcement actions, Ms. Inman said. And I think it will, right? Anytime there is a monetary type of incentive to do your job, you do a better job. And if it's going to help people in compliance or in the banks or at a casino, turn in these sons of bitches who are involved in structuring and money laundering and get them caught up and arrested and facing justice like the rest of us would have to, then I am all for it. Incentivize the hell out of it. Look, we all know that people always do a better job when there's some incentives at the end. When you got that carrot dangling off of the fishing pole. Always a better job when you have incentives to do so. Money laundering violations have generally fallen through the cracks in the whistleblower infrastructure in the U.S. This new law goes a long way towards filling those gaps, she said, and I agree. We have never really had too many big whistleblowers. What's the incentive? You blow the whistle and then what? You're ignored by the feds? You're fired by the people you blew the whistle on? You have to face repercussions in your professional life? So yeah, what's the benefit for being a whistleblower? There really isn't one, right? There really isn't a benefit previously to this. I mean, doing the right thing is always a good feeling. But if you do the right thing and you're castigated and you're ostracized as someone who is bad for doing the right thing, well, then what? What do you do then? But now, with incentives at the end of the tunnel for the people who will possibly be blowing the whistle, I would think that we will see more people coming forward and ratting out these money launderers and those who are looking to manipulate the system, because they know that there is a reward at the end of the tunnel. The program allows whistleblowers from anywhere in the world to bring to the U.S. Treasury Department's whistleblower office information about money laundering. And if the Treasury uses that information to impose a fine on the wrongdoer, the whistleblower will receive up to 30% of that amount. Now imagine you blew the whistle on Deutsche Bank and they got a $150 million fine and you caught 30% of that on the back end. You're looking at something like $40 million roughly. Not a bad payday. Not a bad payday to do the right thing, huh? How about that? A reward for doing the right thing for once. By design, money laundering is extraordinarily hard to detect without a whistleblower inside. As the FinCEN Files investigation confirms, criminals often wash their illegal proceeds via an elaborate series of shell corporations located in offshore and favorable offshore jurisdictions throughout the world, Ms. Inman said. As the Danske Bank and Wirecard scandals have proven, international whistleblowers are essential to unlocking the complexities of far-reaching money laundering schemes to U.S. authorities. And to think, the young lady who blew the whistle for the FinCEN Files is facing serious jail time right now is absurd. Well, I hope these new laws that are going on the books provide protection to her retroactively. She deserves it. She saw something was amiss here, and she brought it out, and she brought it to the media. That's because there was no channel for her to go to within the system. So she should be penalized for that and sent to prison? Not in my opinion. Whistleblowers welcome. The Treasury Department's new whistleblower reward program seeks to attract whistleblowers with a blinking whistleblower's welcome sign, guiding them to the office of whistleblower and providing a safety net in the form of a financial reward to compensate them for undertaking the risk of speaking up and bringing this information to authorities, Ms. Inman said. I'll tell you what, this is going to have ripple effects, right? I mean, if you were a mid-level compliance cat working for one of these banks and you knew they were engaged in money laundering and double dealing with these scoundrels around the world, wouldn't you bring that up and bring it to the authorities, the whistleblower's office, and try and get you a little chunk of change? I know I would. Tell you what, few $1 million? Hell yeah. And you're doing a good deed, saving the rest of us from paying some sort of money when it comes down, because we all know that money laundering is not a victimless crime. Hell yeah, I take my few $1 million or whatever it is. In the 3 years plus since we launched our international whistleblower practice in London, more than half of the whistleblowers who approached us had information about international money laundering schemes somehow connected to the U.S. That shouldn't shock any of you out there, okay? We have some of the smarmiest, scummiest sons of bitches in the United States that the world has ever known. Now, it's not exclusive to the United States by any means. But, again, I'm worried about my backyard, right? I'm not looking in my neighbor's backyard and saying, man, you got a bunch of messed up grass, it's dirty. Meanwhile, I have 17 cars in my driveway. So I'm of the mind that I need to focus on fixing America first before I start looking over the fence and yelling about what's going on in a place like, say, France. However, without a U.S. whistleblower reward program for money laundering, we had to turn them away. That all changed on New Year's Day when the Department of Treasury's historic whistleblower reward program for money laundering became law, she said. And again, if this has the teeth that it sounds like it has, this is going to be a huge deal moving forward, and they can use this new law to go after Epstein's enterprise. 100% without a doubt. Until now, whistleblowers had no real incentive to come forward to reveal the way criminals, terrorists, kleptocrats, and tax evaders clean their money. By incentivizing whistleblowers, the Department of Treasury is embracing the SEC's wildly successful model to improve enforcement, with whistleblowers connecting the dots for them. And again, I'm all for this. I think this is a great idea. It's probably one of the best parts of this AML legislation, in my opinion. I think it's a fantastic idea. So, moving forward, I'm very interested to see what sort of teeth that this has. And Sherrod Brown and the Democrats have talked a big game. Let's see if they stand up and have the spine and the backbone to really pursue this. This is their law. This is their idea. Will they have the courage to pursue it? That is my question. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. As for tomorrow, I'm only planning on one segment. I'm thinking a morning update and then just having that one episode for tomorrow and a couple of flashback episodes. Now, that's certainly the plan as of now. If more news comes in and 2 episodes are required, obviously we'll go that route as well. But I have a lot going on tomorrow as far as stuff going on in my life. So I'm shooting for 1 episode. But like I said, if the news calls for it, you guys will get 2. All right, everybody. Have a great Friday night. If you're going out, please do not drink and drive. We will be back tomorrow, and we will pick up where we left off.